Hello, Dr. Coker here, and this is a guide to Thok Ast Thok, Hard, where you'll encounter Ravana. It's pretty common for groups to wipe on this fight, because if you go in blind, it's easy to miss the critical mechanics you need to survive. Please like and subscribe. I'm releasing guides for every story dungeon and trial in the game, so you always know what's coming. Let's get started. The tank should face Ravana away from the group so no one else is needlessly hit by his frontal cleaves. He will occasionally cast Seeing Wing, where two shields will appear momentarily at his sides. For about the next 5 seconds, he will counterattack any attacks that come from the direction where the shields appeared. Similarly, he casts Seeing Tail, which does the same thing but the shields are front and back instead of his two sides. Most of the avoidable damage that Ravana does will apply a stack of vulnerability up to all players who missed the mechanic, so be very careful. One of his signature moves for Phase 1 is called Prelude to Slaughter. This has a very long cast time and everyone should stand behind him while it is casting, but not too close to him. When the cast completes, he'll do heavy damage to everyone at his sides, then he'll disappear. At this point, large line AoE markers will appear all over the arena, and after they are blasted, a large donut AoE marker will appear, where everything is dangerous except the center. Just stay on your toes and move out of the markers. Shortly after he returns, he will cast Slaughter. This also has a long cast, and again the safe spot is behind the boss, but not too close. After the cast goes off, he'll disappear, and this time there will be a large X AoE across the floor, accompanied by two players having large circular AoE markers on them. The two players need to separate. When the boss is around 60%, he will spawn a bunch of butterflies for a long time, and they will cast Falling Laughter. It is top priority to kill these butterflies ASAP. If a cast of Falling Laughter completes, it will leave a sword stuck in the floor. When the boss does his wipe mechanic next, it will do more damage with every sword that was successfully spawned. Generally, 3 swords is enough to guarantee a wipe. Once the butterflies are gone, he will cast Bloody Fuller, which is the wipe mechanic. Also, for every sword that is present, all players will get a vulnerability up stack. If the butterflies were prevented from spawning any swords, it won't do much damage. This puts us in Phase 2. Notice that some of the wall around the edge of the floor is now missing. For the remainder of the fight, it is possible to get knocked off the platform, so make sure your back is always toward a solid wall. Pillars of Heaven is one common knockback he casts during Phase 2. It's best to get far from the center to reduce the damage, but most importantly, just make sure you have a wall behind you. Also in Phase 2, one of the tanks will occasionally get a marker over their head, and for several seconds, Ravana will do heavy AoE attacks toward that player. Everyone should stay away from the chosen tank to avoid getting hit. Around the same time, 4 orbs will spawn around the arena that get tethered to random players. They will follow the tethered player for a few seconds and then explode. These are easily outrun, but even if you don't outrun them, they don't do a lot of damage. In Phase 2, Ravana no longer casts Prelude to Slaughter, but instead does Swift Slaughter. For Swift Slaughter, 4 players will get blue sword markers over their heads. These 4 players need to spread apart and stay away from the center. When the cast finishes, the boss will swiftly attack in a pattern, making 4 wide lines from the center to the marked players. The center will be unsafe, as will a wide line from the center to the marked players. There will be no markers for this. This is immediately followed by another donut pattern AoE, where the center is safe, then finished with a center AoE knockback which is also marked. Again, make sure you are lined up with an existing wall so you aren't knocked off. And that's it for Thok Ast Thok Hard. Have fun, and I'll see you next time.
I lay my blades at thy feet, child of man.